All right, I'm laughing because our next guest is just so much fun. His name is Willard Barth, and his life hasn't always been fun. So today we're going to be talking about transformation, and he happens to be an expert at that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Willard Barth. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me here.
Good. And we started laughing because I've seen you many, many times. I didn't realize that you were an amputee. So I said to you, when we were at Carson Tang's event, we were all over the campgrounds and everything like that. When you talked to me on the phone about a life transformation for you, one of the things was is that you lost your leg.
Yep.
And I said, well, wait, when? So you're just such a man of like presence. You have such a presence about you. But in all seriousness, what happened? What happened to you? When was that moment for you?
Well, I lost my leg when I was 8 years old. I had bone cancer.
Okay.
And that put me on a very interesting path, I tell people. One aspect, anything in life that people told me I couldn't do, I had to go out and do. So I was the first licensed amputee motorcyclist in Pennsylvania. I lettered in high school football, lettered in high school wrestling, and I had my own business by the time I was 19 years old. But inside, I was a basket case. I was extremely angry. I couldn't understand what did an 8-year-old do that was so bad. You know, growing up in a religious household, what did I do that, so bad that I was being punished for? And when I was 13, I discovered drugs and alcohol, and I started drinking and using heavily. So the world saw this person that was dealing with it in a great way. Inside, I was medicating, not dealing with any emotions. So 19, I had my first business. 20, I was facing 5 years in jail. I ended up doing a total of 12 months between jails, halfway houses, and rehabs. And a lot of that really was tied around the meaning that I attached to losing my leg and some of the other things that happened in life. And what I talk about now and mentioned the anatomy of transformation is at 24, there was something that happened that I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially devastated, all of it that I brought on myself. And I needed to course correct.
Well, it's interesting that you said that you brought it on yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of times people will take challenges and they want to blame.
Absolutely.
Right? And I do the same thing sometimes. Yep. And then I say to myself, I'm like, no, I asked for that challenge because there was a lesson to be learned and I overcame it.
Yep.
So I'm going to stop saying, oh, well, this one did this wrong to me and that. I take full responsibility. And when you take full responsibility for the things that happen to you in your life, whether good, bad, or indifferent, it gives you like a power.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
So at the age then of 24, no money in the bank, 92 cents, nothing?
I was actually homeless at the age of 23. I had $40 left to my name. I got out of Baltimore City Jail on August 8th of 1988, made it really easy to remember, 8/8/88. And I hitchhiked from Baltimore to my family's home in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, because I had nowhere to go. So yeah, no money in the bank. You know, life was a total mess. And the taking responsibility, the anatomy of transformation that I talk about was really my understanding, my own journey of how I changed that and many things in my life. And taking responsibility is what I call phase 3. You have to take responsibility that the fact of where you are right now, whether your life's a mess or whether it's beautiful, every decision, every action that you've made in the past, every choice that you've made has brought you to where you are. Up until I was 24, I blamed everybody. I blamed God, I blamed my parents, I blamed my father who wasn't even in my life. I blamed everybody. But when you take responsibility for how you got to where you are, I forget the exact words that you used, but then finally you're able to take control of where you're going to go. When you stop blaming other people, it just gives you so much power to be able to go forward.
It really does, and it's fun. And I surround myself with other people that are kind of like enlightened and empowering and engaging, and we're all like on a team now doing things together, and it just better. My life works so much better.
Absolutely.
So does crap still happen to me? Yeah, it happens to everybody.
Absolutely.
But like my lows are like really short. I only allow myself to wallow for just a little bit, and I'm like, all right, I'm done wallowing, because it's a waste of time for me. So now you talk about the 7 principles of transformation. What are those?
7 phases. Yeah, I call them 7 phases because the first phase of it isn't really like a step where people talk about the 7 steps or something. Because phase 1 is what I call ignorance. You're not even aware of either who you want to become or what the challenge may be in your life. You know, when I was drinking and using drugs, everybody around me saw how much of a tornado that I was being and the damages I was doing, and they were going, why do you keep doing this to yourself? But when you're in the middle of that state of ignorance, you don't see the damage. You go from phase 1 to phase 2 when either something happens that kicks your butt hard enough that you become aware,
Right.
or
You wake up. right?
exactly, you wake
Hello?
up, or sometimes, like before you started hosting a show, I'm sure there was a point in your life where you never dreamed of hosting a show. There was something that was like a light bulb that said, ooh, I like that. I want to go in that direction. You became aware. There was a state of ignorance before of going, I don't know how people become a TV host and a radio host and these things. So phase 1, ignorance. Phase 2, awareness. Phase 3, taking responsibility. Now, just because people become aware does not mean that they're going to take responsibility. We just talked about the blame game. A lot of times people use awareness as their excuse and their story to continue the negative behavior. When you take responsibility, phase 3 is take responsibility. Phase 4 is what I call immersion. So many people say they're going to try and quit smoking, they're going to try and lose weight, they're going to try and start a business. I think try should be removed from the English language because try is an excuse not to take action.
Right. Stop smoking.
Yep.
Start a business.
You either do it or
Learn
you
to
don't.
dance. Right. Just dance.
Yep, exactly. Dance
right.
or don't.
Right.
There's no try. There's a great little example. Actually, I'll do it real quickly with
Right.
you. Try to pick up your coffee mug. Great job of leaving it there, but
Right.
not what I asked you to do. You
Right.
either pick it up or you
Or
leave
you
it.
don't. Right.
So immersing yourself is really what's your level of commitment to making the transformation, whatever that transformation may be. Step 5 is interdependence. There's 2 ways that people learn things. The school of trial and error, which we also call the school of...
Hard knocks.
Exactly. And school of hard knocks usually costs people their dreams because they get so beaten down by it, they never get through to where they want to go. There's also the school of what I call OPE, other people's experience. So interdependence is about going and finding the people who've gotten the results that you want, whether you do it through books, whether you do it through seminars, whether you do it through finding a mentor, just surrounding yourself with peers. Like you said, the people you surround yourself with that help you grow. Interdependence, phase 6 is when you get to the point of ownership. It actually becomes a part of your identity. And now you're no longer the person who's in a state of ignorance. You automatically go to phase 7, which is influencing other people. Because people don't realize that you're constantly influencing people. It's a choice. So you're going to be a good influence or a bad influence. People are constantly paying attention to what you do, whether you're trying to be a teacher, whether you're trying to be, a person that's in front of the audience or not. People are always noticing, and you influence your children, the people in your community. So the transformation is really being aware of where you are in that journey and knowing what you need to do to move to the next step.
Now, talking about that, the interdependence,
Mm-hmm.
you specialize now in helping other people get through those
Yes.
phases.
Yeah.
And tell me one success story, because there's a powerful one, and if you don't mind sharing it. Or a couple examples. How have you been helping people? How do you help people?
Couple examples. First is my own transformation from where I went to where I am. 2 that I can think of right now is a gentleman I've never met face-to-face other than over Skype. I released a video series 2009 on YouTube and then my own website that was called Self-Awareness 101, helping people at that beginning phase. And this was before I created the Anatomy of Transformation. And this gentleman reached out to me to share his success story after he did it himself, which is the phenomenal part of it. It's him taking the responsibility. But he was in a junior college. He had no self-esteem. He had all these different things. And based on having gone through that 52-episode series, he applied for a contest at one of the top universities in India. I'd love to share his whole story. We don't have time for it. Guy in junior college that 3 years later was running a lab at one of the biggest universities in Delhi, India, because he had an idea to create an internet-controlled robot after seeing the bombings in Mumbai. And the Department of Defense in India actually funded his project just because he decided to make the transformation and go against everybody else telling him that I'm getting chills as I'm thinking about it.
I know, me too.
Yeah, it was just, and he still keeps in touch with me today. He just recently got married, and it's just, he's a phenomenal success story because he had no confidence in himself, and when he decided to stop listening to other people put him down, his life's in a whole new place. From a business standpoint, myself and my team, there's a company that we work with that last year, they were ranked one of the top 10 fastest growing businesses in New Jersey and one of the top 2,000 in the country by by Inc. magazine. And when we started working with them, they had 15 employees and they were doing $32 million in revenue. And by applying the principles of the anatomy of transformation with everybody from the owner down through to the administrative staff, each in their own levels. Within 18 months, we helped them go from 15 employees to 55 at 18 months. I think it was 55. They went from 32 million in revenue to 64 million in revenue, and they actually had to open up a separate division for another contract that contract alone was worth $60 million.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's really not about the money. It's about
No.
the influence and the transformation and then
Yes.
change.
Yep.
You know, just being alive, being aware, being free, if you will. You know, being fully self-expressed.
Yep.
You know, a lot of times people think it's so mumbo jumbo, but it's not, because time and time and time again, and I also have a feeling that sometimes the universe does put us through these major
Absolutely.
challenges so that we can speak about it. Because
Absolutely.
people need to know that, hey, we've been there. You know, I've walked your walk, I've talked your talk, I can empathize with that. You know, not everything was handed to me in a silver spoon. I never had self-confidence. The fact that I have a television show and that I'm seen in 25 countries,
Yeah.
You know, you asked me, did I always think I'd be a television show host? No, in
Yep.
fact, the opposite. I never felt pretty enough to be in front of the camera. I spent 20 years learning the craft behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then in 2008, it was divinely gifted to me. I was sleeping, and all of a sudden you talk about that epiphany, bing, and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to do that because it's supposed to help people. It's supposed to be a conduit. It's supposed to be a TV show about good things so that other people watching the show can have the great life that you were just talking about. And
Yeah.
life really can be great. You
It
know,
can.
it really, truly can. And there's a lot of people that are there to help you. And so people can get help from you by going to what? WillardBarth.com?
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
It's you are you. You are
I'm
your
me.
brand. I'm me,
Yep.
just me. Thank you. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd want to talk about or give a shout out to somebody in particular?
One thing I'd just like to reiterate what you just said about, you know, Donita just made the comment about how, you know, upbeat I am and things. And I think people really need to realize that no matter where you are, no matter how bad it seems, that you can make a transformation. Because 26 years ago, I wasn't the guy that you see sitting here. 26 years ago, if I look back at my life, it's like I'm watching a movie of somebody else's life, and I have to remember I was the person that was doing those things, because the transition has been so dramatic. You know, I mean, 27 years ago, people wouldn't trust me with $20 to give me because I was a liar, I was a cheat, I was a thief. All I was worried about was feeding my addiction. And now I've got, you know, CEOs and all these people coming to me asking me to advise them. That didn't happen overnight, but no matter where somebody is in their life, whether they're in the middle of a living nightmare or whether things aren't that bad, but you want to go somewhere else, you can always make the transformation. As far as shout outs, I just really want to thank you for the opportunity of being here and for what you're doing. I mean, I know that you've interviewed a mutual friend of ours, Lisa Lieberman Wang, and I'm doing some work with her and the foundation she's created, and you're just doing amazing things. So the shout out goes to you, really.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
My goodness. All right. Stay tuned for more on Live It Up, and we want to tell your story. Please reach out to us. Your stories empower others. Thanks for watching.